Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Studying and Working in Canada session. To start us off in a good way, we would like to acknowledge and respect the Algonquin, Songhees, and Esquimalt peoples on whose territory the university stands, and the Algonquin and Wasanic peoples whose historical relationships with the land continue to this day. So over the course of your studies in Canada, you'll likely hear different territory or land acknowledgements at the start of meetings, gatherings, and events to recognize the land we are currently on and to honor the Indigenous peoples who have historic and present relationships to this land. So we use the territory acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation, and you can learn more about the territory acknowledgement at U of Vic at the link that Nico's going to put in the chat. My name is Maya. My pronouns are she and her, and I am an international student advisor at the International Center for Students, or ICS for short. I will be one of the staff members who will support you in your U of Vic international student experience. And today I'm joined by my colleague Sonam, who is an immigration consultant at ICS. We're also joined by Nico, one of the wonderful student staff who will be supporting us through the chat and background technology today. Thanks, Nico. Sonam will be moderating the session for us today, so if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. Please do not include any personal information, such as date of birth or student number, to protect your privacy. The recording, as well as the presentation slides, will be available later today, or later this week, I'm sorry, at the International Student Welcome website. Nico, if you could put that in the chat. This session, Studying and Working in Canada, is the first session offered as part of our international student orientation programs between August 19th and August 23rd. The ICS and campus partners offer online sessions to introduce you to services being offered to students. And then from August 27th to September 7th, there will be many in-person programs for you to attend. We hope that you will join us. So during this week, you will get a chance to meet our team. You'll get connected to campus, make new friends at events such as beach socials and hikes. And don't miss out on our all-day International Student Welcome event on August 29th. So you can register for all of these events using the registration link. And then finally, if you haven't yet submitted your photo of your one card yet, please do so on the website being shared in the chat. You will need your one card to check in at the International Student Welcome on Thursday, August 29th. So please submit your photo by August 23rd. And that's just so it can be processed in time. The official U of Vic student identification and campus debit card, which is the one card, also gives you access to some really great student discounts. So in today's presentation, we will be going over important immigration information pertaining to your student status and work authorization in Canada as a temporary resident. So it's important to note that immigration policies may change without notice. So this information provided in the presentation today is current as of August 19th, 2024, which is today. Please always refer to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC's website, for up-to-date information. And here is our agenda for today. So for those of you who are just tuning in now, once again, this presentation is recorded. So in order to protect your personal information and privacy, we ask that you keep yourself muted and your video off throughout the session. Please do not share any personal information in the public chat. And if possible, I would encourage you to actively listen throughout this presentation and save your questions, as most of your questions may be answered by our presentation. So please note that even though ICS has a close relationship with the international programs team in the business school, business students should always contact the international team at the School of Business. If you are a continuing studies student, please contact our lovely colleagues at the Continuing Studies for support. Okay, so as mentioned earlier, Sonam and I are from ICS, or International Center for Students. ICS is a centralized resource providing international services, information, and non-academic supports for students. So Sonam and myself belong to the International Student Advising Team, who specialize in both settlement and immigration advising. So our team can help you with a wide range of topics such as health insurance, settlement services, immigration, documents, and work authorization for you and your family members. So our team consists of a frontline advisor, 2 settlement advisors, international student advisors, and an immigration consultant, as well as our manager of international student advising. So since this session is focused on immigration, for immigration support, our regulated immigration practitioners, which consist of international student advisors and an immigration consultant, can answer your questions relating to your study permit, student work authorization, co-op work permit, PGWP, as well as immigration documents for your accompanying family members. Our office cannot advise on PR programs in Canada. However, considering this topic might be of interest to you, our office regularly hosts free Pathways to PR sessions to provide an overview on various federal and provincial immigration streams. Okay, so there are many ways to access our services and support. Our team has valuable information about immigration and settlement topics on the ICS website. This is always the first resource I would suggest that you access when looking for answers for your questions, since it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Although, of course, we love to hear from you as well. We also publish articles in the International Current newsletter, which some of you may have received via email. We share timely reminders and immigration updates or tips to manage your life as an international student. If our website and articles don't have the information you need, you can contact our frontline advisor at icsinfo@uvic.ca for help. Our frontline advisor is available during office hours, and our frontline advisor can answer settlement and health insurance questions via phone or email. They can also help you connect with an ISA to discuss any immigration concerns or settlement advisors to provide you with settlement support. Both our settlement advisors and our ISAs offer virtual and in-person drop-ins during weekdays, except for holidays. Our team also hosts regular information sessions and workshops throughout the year. Be sure to follow our newsletter for event info, Facebook and Instagram accounts for updates. Okay, so if you are not a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, you will need to have appropriate documents to study and to work in Canada. So most of you will need a study permit to study in Canada if your program at UVic is more than 6 months in length. Please also note that if your program has online components, a study permit is still required for your in-Canada portion of your program, even if the in-Canada portion is less than 6 months. So most of you will also need to have a valid entry document to go along with your study permit. It can either be a TRV or an ETA unless you're a US citizen or exempt from having one. TRVs usually has the same expiry date as your study permit documents, whereas ETAs can be valid for up to 5 years or to your passport expiry. So some of you will also require a co-op work permit if your program has any experiential learning components, such as practicum, an internship, or mandatory co-op work terms. Students are only able to apply for a co-op work permit after you are accepted by the U of Vic co-op program. And finally, some students will be eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit after they complete their studies. So if you have a spouse or a common law partner or dependent children accompanying you to Canada, our team can support them as well. They will also need to ensure they hold a valid entry and status documents while they are in Canada. So for those of you who will be traveling to Canada in the coming weeks, you must carry support documents to show you meet the requirements to enter Canada. So you will want to ensure that you bring valid passport or other accepted travel documents, valid temporary resident visa or ETA if required, a valid study permit or letter of introduction, U of Vic verification of enrollment, and then of course proof of funds, and proof of valid immigration medical exam if required. So here is an example of a port of entry letter of introduction. If your application is approved, you will receive a letter of introduction confirming the approval. So please note that this letter is not a study permit. It is proof that your study permit application was approved and authorizes the issuance of a study permit at any Canadian port of entry. So to avoid problems, make sure your name is spelled correctly and all information is accurate on these documents. If anything is incorrect on your letter of introduction or visa, ask the issuing visa office to correct the document before you travel to Canada. If you apply at the port of entry, check your documents before leaving to ensure any necessary corrections can be made right away. Okay, and here is what an ETA or TRV will look like. Either will be issued if your application is approved. So for those of you who apply for a study permit from outside Canada, there's no need to make a separate application for your entry document, as it will all be automatically issued once your study permit is approved. If you are a US citizen or a permanent resident, you will not need an entry document to enter Canada, as you are exempt, and an entry document is not required to enter Canada for you. And here is what a study permit will look like once it has been issued to you. So as mentioned, your study permit is a status document that allows you to stay in Canada as a student and engage in a program of study. So please ensure you are aware of your study permit expiry date and plan to extend your document 4 to 6 months before it expires. So other than the conditions listed on your study permit, as a study permit holder, you need to meet a few other conditions set by IRCC. So if you don't meet these conditions, you may lose your student status and study permit. You may also have to leave Canada due to non-compliance. So first of all, you must be enrolled at a DLI, which U of Vic is a DLI. Make sure to notify IRCC when you change your post-secondary institution within Canada. Stop your studies when you no longer meet the study permit conditions, and leave Canada when your permit expires or apply for another status to keep remaining in Canada. Finally, you must also show that you are actively pursuing your program of study. So you must meet the conditions by being enrolled full-time or part-time for each of your regular academic sessions, except for regularly scheduled breaks or authorized leaves. So please note that you can choose to take part-time or full-time courses and still be considered meeting the active enrollment condition for holding a study permit. However, being a part-time student may impact your work eligibility during your studies, as well as your eligibility for a postgraduate work permit, if that interests you. That is, if you study part-time, you will not be allowed to work based on the study permit work authorization, and you may be considered not meeting the full eligibility for a postgraduate work permit after you complete your studies. You can also see detailed study permit conditions on the IRCC website, so I do recommend that you go straight to the source and look through that. So at U of Vic, in most cases, we go by the full-time definition in the academic calendar when assessing whether a student meets immigration program requirements or conditions. However, if you are registered with the Center for Accessible Learning, you should contact your CAL advisor for your full-time definition, as it may be different. The full-time studies requirement used for scholarships, bursaries, student loans, and external funding providers may differ from the U of Vic calendar full-time definitions. So please note the full-time definitions are different for undergraduate and grad students. So we'll start with undergraduate students. The full-time definition is being registered in 12 or more units of study in the winter session, September to April, or 6 or more units in a single winter session term, which is fall or spring, or in the summer session can be considered as a full-time student. So registration in a co-op work term also constitutes full-time attendance. So as an example of being registered full-time for the winter session, September to April, assuming each of your courses is worth 1.5 units each, you can take 5 courses in the fall term and then 3 courses in the spring term to meet the full-time definition. Your other option would be to take 4 courses in the fall term and then 4 courses in the spring term. If you are an undergraduate student, please consult with your academic advisor about your scheduled breaks if you're unsure or have concerns about program planning. If the summer session is not a scheduled break for your program, you must maintain full-time enrollment year-round to be eligible for PGWP. And now for the graduate student definition. So for graduate students, you must be registered in 3 or more units for a single term in winter session or summer session. Enrollment in candidacy exam, dissertation, thesis, project, approved exchange, jointly supervised doctoral program, or co-op education work term also constitutes full-time attendance. Please note that graduate students are required to have continuous enrollment, including summer sessions. So summer sessions are not considered a scheduled break. In addition to understanding the undergraduate and the graduate full-time definition, all international students must also meet the study permit conditions we spoke about, and any leave taken from a program of studies in Canada should not exceed 150 days from the date the leave commenced and must be authorized by the university. If possible, whenever you are planning to take an authorized leave, we recommend you touch base with one of our international student advisors to ensure the leave will not impact your student status or future PGWP eligibility. So as mentioned earlier, your study permit may allow you to gain valuable paid or unpaid work experience in Canada without having an additional work permit while you study in Canada, if you meet the enrollment and working hour conditions. So your study permit work authorization will start the time you commence your program at UVic. To work with your study permit on or off campus, you must have a valid study permit with the on or off campus employment remarks and a SIN or social insurance number. You must be enrolled in a full-time course load during regular academic sessions, and the only exception for the full-time requirement is in the final term, where you're allowed to study part-time and still meet the eligibility to work if you were a full-time student in all other regular academic terms throughout your program. So full-time enrolled students meeting conditions may work for a maximum of 20 hours per week off campus and unlimited hours on campus during regular academic sessions. Please note that although IRCC has announced that they intend to change the number of eligible students may work off campus to 24 hours per week, we are waiting for IRCC's implementation, and until further notice, eligible students should limit their off-campus work to a maximum of 20 hours a week during regular academic sessions. If your program allows for scheduled breaks in summer terms, you may be allowed to work full-time during your scheduled breaks as long as you maintain full-time status before and after the break. You can also see detailed study permit work authorization on the IRCC website. So if your program at U of Vic includes a work component, such as a co-op internship or practicum, you will need a co-op work permit. The co-op work permit can only be used for work that is an integral component of your studies at U of Vic. So to apply for a co-op work permit, you will need a letter from your U of Vic co-op, internship, or practicum program confirming that the work is required for your program, excuse me. And for those of you who are or may be interested in applying for PGWP after graduation, PGWP is an open work permit that allows international students to gain more Canadian work experience after completing your program. So to stay eligible for this work permit under current policies, you must complete a PGWP eligible program that's at least 8 months in length with a DLI, have maintained full-time status in your regular academic sessions, except for regularly scheduled breaks or authorized leaves, and final term. And after August 31st, 2023, time spent studying outside Canada cannot be counted towards your PGWP. To be eligible for a PGWP, international students must complete at least 50% of their program in person in Canada. And then you also must meet all the other eligibility requirements set by IRCC. So please refer to the IRCC website for detailed program information, including eligibility requirements and how remote courses may impact the length of a work permit you receive. Okay, so let's move on to the social insurance number and income tax. So to be paid for any work you do in Canada and to access certain government programs and benefits, you will need a valid social insurance number. We also call that a SIN. International students with a work permit or with a study permit that includes on or off-campus employment remarks are eligible to apply for a SIN. The SIN is also used for tax purposes. If you earn an income in Canada, you will need to file a tax return. Even if you do not work in Canada, you may wish to file a tax return to receive tax credits. Some tax credits that may be available. International students may have to pay Canadian income tax on income earned from teaching and or research assistance, other employment and investments and business income. In many cases, students are required to report their worldwide income when they file income tax in Canada, unless they are exempt. So for more information about the SIN or income tax filing in Canada, you can visit the websites noted on the slide. We will also be hosting a SIN application drop-in session on August 30th for students who wish to apply for a social insurance number on campus. And The link is on the slide, and these will be posted later. You can look at it later. Okay, so if your study permit is still in process, we understand that you may be anxious about what your options are as the start of term is fast approaching. So legally speaking, when you take online courses outside of Canada, you do not need a study permit. So if you're registered for online courses for your first term, or your program allows to join the in-person courses from abroad temporarily, or you may be allowed to start your program online before your study permit is approved. However, we do not recommend students start their in-person courses from abroad, as starting your program remotely while your study permit is being processed does not guarantee a study permit approval. And there might be potential immigration implications on your work authorization or future PGWP length, so please consider your options carefully. If your study permit hasn't yet been approved and you are considering to study or start your studies from abroad, but are registered in in-person classes, for undergraduate students, you will need to reach out to each of your professors for your in-person courses and explain your immigration issue to seek their permission to temporarily start remotely. Depending on the course, professors may or may not be able to accommodate your request, so this decision is up to your professors. If you are a graduate student, you should contact your graduate secretary or academic advisor in your academic department to discuss your options. And then in the case that your professors or department cannot grant permission to allow you to start your in-person studies courses online or join later, you should watch out for academic important dates and prepare to drop your courses before September 17th to avoid tuition penalties or failing grades. It is also important to note that after August 31st, 2023, any time you spend studying outside Canada will be deducted from the length of your PGWP. And once again, starting your program from outside of Canada cannot increase the chance of your study permit approval or be a reason for IRCC to expedite your study permit application. Also, in some cases, if you cannot find enough online courses to make up for the full-time enrollment, your work authorization while studying and PGWP eligibility may be impacted. So it is very important to consider your comfort level with starting a program of study without having confirmation of when or even whether your study permit might be approved. We do see refusals, so you will want to think about what that would look like for you if you were to be refused, especially after the drop deadline, and especially if there is any in-person requirements for the courses you are registered in. So for example, if your prof has offered flexibility only in the first part of your term, there are also financial and academic implications to this, and we do recommend that students who are still waiting for their study permit approval consult with their admissions assistant or their supervisor and graduate secretary to discuss their options and timelines for making decisions. So keep in mind that you can remain in the courses you have registered for now, but if you cannot start your first term in time, the last day to drop for 2024 fall courses and receive a full refund for their tuition fees is September 17th. If you choose to take online courses from outside Canada for the whole fall term, you can opt out of the MTMI before September 22nd via the GuardMe website. And if by chance you have a spot reserved in the U of Vic residence, I would suggest following up with resident services regarding any potential delays in your arrival and any deadlines that may apply to cancel or make changes. Please also be advised that if you are currently in Canada, you can contact resident services with any questions you have as well. So if you prefer to follow our recommendation to wait for your study permit approval before you start your studies, For undergraduate students, make sure to consult with your admissions assistant. And for graduate students, should contact your supervisor and department about options to change your entry point or defer. If you need help with your program planning, please connect with your academic advisor, or for graduate students, please connect with your graduate advisor or graduate secretary. For information regarding scholarships or financial aid, including the work-study program, it would be a good idea to reach out to your student awards and financial aid. And for graduate students, you can contact your department or faculty of graduate studies. And also contact us with any questions you have. So, as you can see, the contact information is provided to you on this slide. Feel free to reach out to our office with any questions you may have about starting your new life in Victoria as an international student. This brings us to the end of the presentation component. So now we will end the recording and open up the floor for questions. If you have not submitted your questions in the chat, feel free to do so. We will try our best to address them. If we don't get to your questions today, please contact us in person, by phone, or email for support.